I don't think I'm unconfident or particularly shy, but I definitely think drag offers that sort of armor and that extra layer and that extra level of punkness. RuPaul said, "You're born naked and the rest is drag," and it's such a cliched quote, but it's so true.
It's a great quote.
It's so true. I woke up 16 years ago and I was like, "Oh, that's not working. That's not happening. I will die." And also, I was surrounded by people who were also unwell because of drinking drugs, and people who have gone through recovery. People who made it and people who didn't make it. So I was so lucky to have a load of sober people around me. If I knocked on his door and he just slammed the door in my face, that's going to stay with me through the rest of my life. So I just never reached out. And when he died, I thought, well, that's just so sad that we never reconciled. Can't change the past. But yeah, and it's a common thing for queer kids to disconnect from a family member.
Hello and welcome back to the Bibliophiles podcast. I am Sophie.
And I'm Chaya.
And before I get onto today's incredibly exciting, incredible, amazing guest Can't Cope, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. And if you like what we do here on this podcast, please make sure to like, rate, review, give us all your feedback because we so appreciate it. And do make sure that you subscribe to our Substack. Our guest today will be giving us a little bit extra at the end, and that will be going to our exclusive Substack paid tier. And we've been assured that she will be spilling the real tea, and we think she has a hell of a lot.
I do.
So today we are so thrilled to be joined by the one and only Jodie Harsh.
Hello.
Jodie is a friend of the podcast,
A fan as well.
We are so
I listen to
excited
every
about
episode.
this. A devoted reader, a DJ, a producer, a writer, and author of this fantastic book, You Had to Be There, an Odyssey Through Noughties London, one night at a time. How cool does this look with your paperback?
So
How amazing. We're thrilled to have you here, Jodie. Thank you for making the time.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I want to say that we were generally trepidatious about reading this book. I'm going to tell you why. We get sent a lot of books.
Yeah.
And we get sent books from people that have big platforms. And we're very, very strategic and also careful in terms of what we say yes to and no to, because we've never been paid or to review a book. That's what we don't do. I read this in 2 hours.
Oh,
okay?
love it.
You are a phenomenal writer.
Thank you.
Okay? And when I was
proper talent.
you were
really.
reading
Thank
through
you.
the back and I was like, oh, you have a degree in writing.
I do. So the funny thing is, with my DJ agency, I by default have a literary agent that I didn't even know existed. And she approached my manager and she said, "Hi, I'm Harriet. I'm technically Jodie's literary agent. Would you be interested in writing a book?" And so I said to my manager, I don't know about that. I'm such a private person. I wear a mask. I don't love excavating I haven't historically liked excavating the past. And so it's probably going to be a no. And my manager, Billy, said, let's entertain it. Let's have lunch with her. Let's talk about it. So we had lunch. I was just in awe of her. And she started twisting my arm and she was like, you should be writing a book. And I said, but who's going to write it with me? Like loads of my friends have put books out and they've had ghostwriters or they've written it with someone. So I'm like, well, who's going to do the writing part? And she was like, sorry, do you not have a degree in writing? I was like, well, yeah, I do, but I get it. She was like, go and write a couple of chapters. Give me, a couple of 1,000 words. Yes. So this was a couple of Christmases ago, and I started writing it, and I sent her the chapters, sample chapters, and she was like, "You're writing this book, and you're doing it now." So that's how it came about.
How long did it take you to write those chapters?
It took the actual sample chapters took me about a month. I wrote chapter 1. I wanted to start at the beginning where I go to a club for the first time. And then the Camden chapter because it's so vivid and it's...
We were there with you.
Totally.
Okay, this is going to be the style of the podcast. We've researched, we've got a whole structure of questions. But Jodie, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. We've been DMing furiously about books. So we're going to get back. I want to explain to people what this book is about because I really want to put it in everyone's hands. You are a defining figure of British nightlife. My main jealousy is that you have met Alexander McQueen, who is one of the most important people creatively to me.
He used to come out and hang out in the DJ booth.
I can't explain to you, like I will own an archival piece of his. But what makes this conversation so exciting for us is your reading and writing. And the fact that you had to be there, which is all about, I don't even know how to summarize it beautifully. It is it's a journey through the nightlife that you have traversed through, but it's also a memoir about performance, invention, longing, addiction, the cost of becoming a public self. You've got the pulse of the club. It's the juxtaposition between the glamour and chaos is monumental. And I think the first question that I have for you touches upon what you've already said, which is that underneath it all, this is about vulnerability and survival. When you started writing it, did you know that it was going to touch upon all those very raw themes, or was it going to be more the glamour and the nightlife?
It was always going to be the glamour and the nightlife. And I've barely left the dance floor for the last 20 years. And so clubs are always going to form this spine for the book. It was always going to be the backbone of it. And I knew when I sort of settled in my head that, okay, I'm going to write a book, I could picture it straight away. Each chapter had to be named after a club. So it was going to form, structurally, it was going to form the base of each chapter. I wasn't really aware of those themes that you mentioned. And another big theme for me, having come out the other side of writing this book, is the theme of home. Finding home, whether that's on the dance floor, the home that you grow up in, the home you eventually leave, home/family, chosen family, found family, and the family that you're born into, and how you can choose one, you can't choose the other, and how important they can both be and how they can both affect your life. And that real sense of home, there are so many nightclubs over London that are no longer there that I've considered homes for a while. And so that was always going to be, without nightclubs, I don't think I'd be around. When I was 15 going to the Astoria and Heaven with Fake ID, they really were my savior. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I was not getting on with my parents, and I found my tribe in these places, and I found somewhere. I remember walking into the London Astoria, 15 years old, fake ID. I know, I can't believe now what I got away with.
You had to get a good fake ID.
Yeah, totally. Like an NUS card from Oxford Street. But I remember walking into the Astoria and the double doors swinging open and looking around as a 15-year-old who was still coming to terms with my sexuality and all that kind of stuff, looking around, seeing 2,000 people and going, oh, I'm not alone.
I belong.
I belong.
Yeah, you say you saw them and they were like you. And I think that really is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sense of belonging and that sense of finding home, I think, weaves its way all the way through the book. And then all the other themes, I think, just sort of worked their way through as I was writing. Yeah.
There is so much in here that I just want to unpack in this book. But there was one line that immediately resonated with me, and I'm sure you, Hayo, as readers, we are readers here. You said that you knew there were problems when you couldn't read, when you weren't able to read a book. Yeah. That's when you knew times were tough. And for me, that's always such an indicator. Like, anyone close to me knows if I say I'm not reading, something is up. And do you find that reading is almost a bit of an emotional barometer for you?
I do, actually. And I find I've always wanted to escape into a book, and I love just escaping into fantasy lands. And it's interesting as well that I found nightclubs as well, because it's also an artificial, not books aren't artificial, it's the wrong word to use, but this sort of created space that you can go into and forget about what's happening in the real world, escape into, and just lose yourself in this amazing place. So books and clubs. And film, I'm a big fan of film. I'm a big fan of music and seeing live music. And it's all this sort of created escape, which I think is so, for me, it's just so useful. And I find that if I'm not reading, I'm probably going through a bit of depression. And I've pushed books aside and I don't have time to read. I didn't read this morning when I woke up. I didn't read tonight before I went to sleep. Blah, blah, blah. And then I go, oh, I'm depressed.
You are one of us.
It's not.
I mean, you really are.
Like, look at my next question. She's basically just,
it's all a bit weird here.
Are you hacking us? It's like, this is my, I want everyone to understand, this is my next question. The book captures nightlife as ecstatic and communal, but also as a place where people are escaping something. Looking back now. So actually, this is the perfect interlude. Do you actually think, obviously you were drawn to the beauty of that escape, but there's the underlying aspect of the danger of it, because there's the alcohol and the drugs and also the celebrity culture, which is so strong.
Yeah.
Balancing that now, how does it feel?
I'm definitely in the nightclub a lot less than I used to be. I'm still a DJ, but I get there, I do the show, and then I'm kind of out the back door. So I'm less in the middle of the dance floor anymore. But from the age of 15 until I started working in clubs properly when I was 18, and then I started doing my own club nights when I was 21 and DJing a couple of years after that. And so clubs have just always been there, and they've always been a very, very important part of my life, whether that's for work and money, whether it's I've met all my friends in clubs, and exactly as you say, they've also been, as well as being a place that have sort of helped form who I am and enriched my life, they've also been a place that have been the danger zone as well.
Yes.
You know, I fell into addiction, and that really kicked off for me. It kind of came to the surface, because I think you're born an addict, but it came to the surface on the dance floor for sure, when I started experimenting with drugs as another form of escape from reality. But I think it's how you. I go to clubs. You know, I'm 16 years sober, and I can go to a club and not reach out for a drink or a drug, even though they're still very much around. So it's all about how. It's not how the club treats you; it's how you kind of treat the club and the space.
You have to read Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi.
Okay.
It's about addiction, but the main protagonist is a neuroscientist.
Okay.
And there's a line in there where she says that addiction is basically gambling with your life, in the sense that we don't know if you're the type of brain where you just one drip of alcohol, one drug, and you're in.
Yeah.
Or you can just, it's the most
have a
brilliant
glass
book.
and you'll be fine.
It's
And
the
that's
brilliant book on
okay, and you
addiction
can
you'll
stop.
ever read.
Yeah, I woke up at 25 years old and realised on the 25th of June.
I was going to say, we know it's nearly 16 years to the day.
Yeah, what day is it?
It's the 24th,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Is
So
it
it's
23rd?
tomorrow.
Literally
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it's tomorrow. I have to do a
So
Instagram post.
congratulations.
Thank you. But I woke up 16 years ago and I was like, oh, that's not working. That's not happening. I will die. And also I was surrounded by people who were also unwell because of drink and drugs, and people who have gone through recovery, people who made it and people who didn't make it. So I was so lucky to have a load of sober people around me. And then I've continued to lose friends to addiction subsequently, as Amy Winehouse died a year after I got sober. You know, it's that you continue to lose people when you live in such a high octane world as nightlife and celebrity culture.
I can imagine.
Unfortunately.
And clubs quite literally form the backbone of your book. I absolutely love that you've structured it in this way, where every chapter is a club. You've got the Astoria, then Turnmills, Fabric, Pasha. I think it's amazing. Yeah. Was that something you always wanted to do?
Well, that day that I had my arm twisted into potentially writing a book, I could see it. I could see the structure. I could see how each chapter, there was never anything but that. There was never sort of like, it was never going to be I was never going to write about my childhood. The book had to start when I'm lining up to go into the first club I ever went to. And the book had to end a year after I got sober. And that was just always very, very clear. The structure was always very clear to me, the form. Yeah.
And with that though, I wondered, as a writer, structure, yes, but how do you write? Can you tell us a little bit about your routine as a writer when you're in the thick of it, I suppose?
Yeah, that structure was really useful for writing the book, because I could, I sort of had post-it notes, absolutely everything. I write everything down. I post-it notes everywhere. And so I sort of had these piles of clubs, and I knew that I had to go and sort of trigger my memories, find pictures from that night, Google stuff, remind myself of what that room looked like, and sort of have this sort of visual archive. Like I became this sort of archivist of myself, which is such a scary thing to do. Yeah, totally.
I'd love to have seen that, Jodie.
All the memory,
We're coming. I would. Take us back with you.
All the memories were like flooding back, and then I'd call my friends and go, what was the name of that person who did the door at so and so, and she was always such a cunt to us. Like, I'd sort of like, and they'd go, oh, it was so and so, and I'd go, oh my god, yes, of course it was, and it would just trigger all these memories. And so I've always been a planner, not a pantser. There's no way that I could just go, chapter 1, blah, 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 blah. I plan everything. I mean, I go through the paragraph, I kind of have a little word note, bullet point for each paragraph I'm about to write. Like I'm such a planner.
I'm sure that's really helpful for you though. I mean, I know some people can just sit and write, but
Totally.
it really
And it reflects
depends.
in the book because it's very cohesive.
But also that a lot comes out in the edit as well. Yeah. So I didn't realize how many times I would be printing it out, going back through with a red pen in my hand, writing, and this is before it even went, it was even shown to my publisher.
I want to know what got
so
darlings, we are going to know what got cut out.
Do you know what? There was nothing, there wasn't much scandal cut out.
Adele caught.
No. I had a legal read and
I was going to
not
say.
much came out. There were a few really small things. There was a thing where...
Well, you haven't been sued. And
no,
it's been out for a while.
I haven't been sued, yeah. Like, I was quite careful and I never wanted to throw anyone under the bus. I never wanted it to feel like a dirty,
it's not salacious
book.
at all.
Good. Thank you. I always wanted it just to be a lovely book, and even the people that we've lost who are mentioned in the book, like if their families were to read it, I'd want them to go, "Oh, it's lovely." Like I wouldn't, I'm not selling books on scandal. That's not my style at all.
Absolutely not.
And but yeah, I was definitely a big planner, and the editing process was really, really interesting. I printed it out so many times. I just went through. I changed so much stuff, and paragraphs that I'd written that I thought was so fab. I print them out, see them on page, and go,
kill those darlings.
Don't need it.
Kill those darlings.
It's weaker with it in. And then obviously the publisher had an editor at the publishing house, and she gave me lots of sort of little like, describe what you were wearing here, and I was like, oh yeah, of course we need a visual, or like,
always.
Do we need this thing, or blah blah blah, or what happened the morning after, and all that, and that was really useful as well to then go back in and kind of keep chipping away at it. I loved the whole process. Yeah.
Brilliant.
You actually strike such a beautiful balance, because there's obviously a lot in here about the celebrities that you were around, because, you were on the cover of Vogue with Kate Moss. You had like a shoot with Vogue.
Pop magazine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was a fly on the wall, but never in a, as I've said, like salacious or like in a disparaging way. But you've also mentioned, obviously, Amy Winehouse, and that you've lost a lot of people. Again, Alexander McQueen, my sister's going to die that I've met someone that's met someone. But do you think that great art and self-destruction are linked, or is that a myth we've romanticized, thinking about all the people that you've been around that are so creative?
Well, it's what we hear about more, isn't it? I mean, I think an addict is an addict, and you might say that lots of addicts are incredibly creative people, but I think we just hear about the troubled artists more than we might hear about someone else who is not in the public eye or making stuff. Yeah. Addiction is so common; it's rife, and we all know people who have been affected by addiction. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I lived and I continue to live in a world that is very high, fast-paced, high octane, and it does attract characters that might be prone to addiction. A bit like flypaper, right? So I'm sure I was very attracted to working in the nightclub spaces by the fact that I'd be given free drinks and wraps of whatever as I walked in. I mean, yeah. I was just it added to the glamour. It was very enticing.
Yeah.
And all the after parties and all the fabulous houses and all the fabulous things. But when I took drugs and alcohol out of my life, I realized that I still absolutely love nightclub culture and just culture that this city, because it's a book based in London, culture that this city can really provide. It's all on our doorstep.
It is.
And I realized that you remove drugs and alcohol, and I still live this very, very culturally rich life. So I wasn't just going to nightclubs because I can get off my head. I was there because I loved seeing fashion trends being born. I loved hearing music being played loud. I love discovery. It's all about discovery.
Yeah.
Hearing new music, meeting new people. These nightclubs are these kind of hot pots of the most exciting people coming together and just wanting to dance. And so
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to touch on that because my next question was about the complexity of becoming yourself. And you've touched upon the fact that, you've concealed parts of your life from your family as the book develops.
Yeah.
The ferocity of the public scrutiny that Amy Winehouse felt. You live in two very distinct worlds. And I wondered, when you've touched upon this, but at what point did you know, okay, this is actually going to delve far deeper into the identity and the family relationships? Did that come out as you were writing about the clubs?
I think when I decided to write a book, I didn't just want it to be a sort of a nonfiction book about nightclubs. I wanted to add a real life into them as well, because clubs attract real people, right? And so yes, it's about the clubs and the spaces and the music and whatever, but it's also all about these real people that go and inhabit them. And so my life being woven through and telling my story and the things that I faced and the things that I've overcome as well felt like something that was essential to do. Actually, at one point, I was thinking of interviewing other people in the book as well, like people that were involved in the clubs, and it to be a little bit more like an oral history at one point as well, like oral history mixed in with memoir. But in the end, I just decided not to do it because there was so much of my real life
enough.
in there. There's enough, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's another book.
It could be another book.
Julie Hush is just not interested in
a
coffee table book on the oral history of nightclubs.
Maybe, absolutely. Have you ever read Meet
there.
Me in the Bathroom? It's the book about the New York indie scene.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I've
that's
got
an
it.
oral history.
Yes.
Yeah. And so at one point I was sort of like looking at that and I have it on my shelf and I was looking at it and thinking, is there a way that I can kind of incorporate other people's stories? But it just felt like enough to have my story woven through. And oh my God, so much went on in my life in the decade that the book is set in. Highs and lows, and incredibly exciting things and incredibly sad things and all the different human emotions, I think.
I have to say, one of the things that I actually found most moving about this book was actually right at the end when you talk about your father and how as soon as he died, you forgave him, which I think is quite frankly inspirational. It's not an easy thing to do. And that scene where you talk about you were outed and your parents questioned you that day.
Interrogated me.
Really interrogated you. And that scene with your father who, when he saw you on the TV and his partner confirmed that it was you and he just
never spoke again.
Didn't speak to you again. Which is really shocking to read and felt genuinely brutal. And I wondered if writing about your family, because we're talking about the memoir aspect of this and this is the family, this is from where you've come, the family you were born into. I wondered if writing about your experiences at these points in your life, the highs, and these were some of the lows, I would imagine, that interrogation certainly. I wondered, did it change your understanding of them in any way? And how were you able to just forgive your dad? I mean, I think it's really incredible.
I think I'm still very close to my mum. So we have my grandmother who's passed away now, and she was just like, be whatever you want to be. She was completely fabulous, and she just wanted me to be happy. My mum, I think, didn't quite understand the life that I was living, and I was very young at this point when my parents found out I was gay. I was probably about 16, and I'd been sneaking out since I was about 15, and so I was putting myself in quite a lot of danger. And so I think that my mum was really worried and perhaps just didn't understand and was more concerned for my safety. And it was more of a safety aspect because I was putting myself in a lot of danger. And absolutely, I would say to a 15-year-old now, wait, we've also got the internet now. We've got social media. So we can find our tribe and meet our people virtually online. But my dad just found it very hard to connect to me purely on the basis that he had a queer son. So there was this massive disconnect and we really kind of fell out in that stage and our relationship was never the same. But I've always been such a punk that I was just like, F him. I'm still going to go, I'm going to be me.
Punk rock.
Yeah, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to go out and I don't care what my dad says. Like, I'm going to go out and live my life.
And you had your grandma.
I had my grandma. My mum came around. My mum started understanding me and... we definitely hit a lot of walls and we lived under the same roof for a while and it was almost like living with a ghost, basically. We'd have dinner in separate rooms. It was literally there. Yeah. And as you said, a few years later, he saw me on TV. I popped up on some TV show. I was watching it with his wife, and he turned and she knew we were kind of keeping it from him. And he said, "Is that my son?" Because he recognised my voice and whatever. And she said yes. And then we never spoke again. And while I was writing the book, he died very suddenly of a heart attack.
So sorry. And
I had said to my sister, do you think I should write to Dad? I'm going to be writing a book. Should I write him a letter? Should I just get back in touch with Dad? And she said, he's not going to reply. He's not going to respond. You never come up in conversation. I try and bring you up in conversation and he just changes the subject. So you kind of don't exist. And I was like, fine, absolutely fine. I won't get in touch. And I was actually with my mum. We'd been to the theatre and she stayed over at my house in London. And the following morning, the phone rang. It was my sister and she said, Dad's had a heart attack. He's probably not going to make it through. And I was like, okay. And then a few hours later, he passed away. And when she called to say he'd passed away, I just thought, that is so sad. We never we never reconciled. We never had that conversation. He never said, I'm proud of you. He never said, you know, I just didn't really exist. And I always thought it's his problem. It's not, it's his problem. And it's also his responsibility to get in touch as well as a parent. Like, I could write a letter, I could turn up on his doorstep, and if I knocked on his door and he just slammed the door in my face, that's going to stay with me the rest of my life. So I never reached out. And when he died, I thought, well, that's just so sad that we never reconciled. Can't change the past. But yeah, and it's a common thing for queer kids to disconnect from a family member. And but I've always had amazing friends, amazing father figures in my life as well. Lots of my friends have been older people who have taught me about culture or life, or, you know, I've always surrounded myself with people with lots of life experience and really interesting people who've kind of taken me under their wing. Maybe some father replacement figures, maybe like teachers.
Jodie,
you know,
you should read a book that we read for our book club called Chosen Family.
Okay.
By Madeline Gray, which is all about the family that we have and also the family that we choose in life.
Yeah.
So it's a really great reader.
Yeah, I was going to say, in at exactly the same time, while I'm not talking to my dad, I'm going out and I have these older friends and I'm finding other family
It's
figures
chosen family.
through clubs as well. So the nightlife has been such an important family.
Let us say to you that A, you deserve all that love that you should have gotten more, and B, that this book is going to be such a beacon to anyone who is either queer or going through any challenge, because it charts so many journeys, but that, I think, at the heart of it is beyond incredible and inspirational. And it will help people.
Thank
that you
you.
can do
Genuinely will.
anything
Yeah.
if you have the gumption, which you do.
Yeah.
And Jodie Harsh is such an important part of your identity, and it feels like a safety blanket at times. And I'm a very naturally confident person. I can walk into a room and just think that I can be there and speak to like the person that no one's speaking to. Like I have alternate personas in that way as well.
Yeah.
Lady Burns and
I
Lady
literally
Burns.
pretend-
You should see
pretend that
her.
I was like aristocracy
Oh
and
my
get
God,
things.
amazing.
She
To get you
does.
through a room.
She does.
Yeah, that's
Get
amazing.
invited to concerts. You do. Okay, that maybe this is
another time.
My family are all laughing at this point. I wondered, are you naturally a confident person, or was Jodie Harsh a bit of that confidence?
I don't think I'm unconfident or particularly shy, but I definitely think drag offers that sort of armor and that extra layer and that extra level of punkness, so that I can walk into a room or I can walk onto a stage and go, hey, in a way that without it, I might be like, hey, you know, because I do these big scary things. You know, I'm on camera with you guys today, or I'm on a stage and there's people
I
that
love it. I saw Paris Hilton.
No,
Kylie.
yeah.
This is a bit lower than that, love.
But it's still walking into a place and
Yes.
and having a talk or presenting some music or some work or whatever. And so I do think that drag. RuPaul said, "You're born naked, and the rest is drag," and it is such a cliched quote, but it's so true.
It's a great quote.
It's so true, and yeah, it definitely offers an extra layer of.
It's like a focal
Well, I have to say that leads me to a question I want to ask about celebrity culture.
Yeah.
It's quite an important one. Which famous person that you've met was completely different when the cameras were off?
And I should say
have
I'm
to
a
know.
barrister and I will give you all the legal protection.
Oh, let me think.
Like totally different.
Someone that's totally different. To be honest, everyone is. I went on tour with Kylie last year, and it's like
Just throw that in the mix,
yeah, I know, like casual. So, I mean, look, at the beginning of this book, when I'm 15 years old, my walls are just covered in Kylie posters.
Really?
Your dreams can come true.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So
Manifest and it will happen.
100%. And so just witnessing the behind the scenes of an absolute global superstar and what it takes to get that show on the road and keep a career like that running, an incredibly powerful, money generating business career. It's amazing to see.
Been there through it all, really. Kylie, hasn't she?
And honestly, if you want to be that level of successful or any level of successful, it is work, constant work.
You better work, bitch.
100%.
Britney, you're a Britney fan.
Anyone that you
That's the
see,
theme tune.
anyone that you see that's really successful or having this amazing glittering career, it's like a duck you're swimming on the water, and underneath it's like it's flapping about like that. There is just so much work to do to keep a ginormous career going. So
I just like sleep too much, and I procrastinate too much. I just don't
You
think this
don't
is
really
the life
sleep
for
that
me.
much.
I know, I
You
actually
really
don't. What's the most absurd thing you've ever seen somebody do because they were famous? Like any like crazy, like I will have water at this temperature.
Like
Who's a
Diva de
Oh, yeah,
Mars.
Who's a diva?
I'm trying to think like who crazy things that I've
who
done.
doesn't-
I'm not really
who's not lawyered
sure.
up?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I've done drugs with loads of loads of celebrities. Definitely not Kylie.
Definitely not.
Definitely not Kylie.
But I've done, that I've seen quite a lot, to be honest.
bet you
but
have.
also, it's not that kind of book, and I don't kiss and tell.
Totally
We're
get
going to
that.
hear about this afterwards in Ibiza.
I'd like to ask a bit about your taste in reading,
Yes.
because that was what connected the three of us in the first instance. And
I DM'd you as a fan, just going, I love your podcast so much.
You're too kind. I really thought it was like a fake account. By
I
the way.
really know.
I did because I knew you were. I feel like I've seen you DJ before. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Sophie, we've got this random. What's the shot?
Jodie, you and I, we love a bit of ish. We
Love
love a bit
ish.
of
Love.
ish. Can I ask, as well as ish, which authors would you say have really shaped your taste and have made a real impact on you as a reader and writer?
Okay, in the non-fiction space, I do love a memoir. I love a Patti Smith. M-Train, Just Kids. I mean, incredible. I didn't read any non-fiction. I didn't read any memoir while I was writing mine. I stayed away from all memoir.
That's a very
there
clever
were
idea.
Yeah, because I was thinking otherwise, if I'm reading a Patti Smith and I'm writing my memoir, I'm just gonna, without even thinking about it, there's gonna be like lines in there that you read and
Definitely.
think, that's a Patti Smith line. It's just gonna happen.
stylistically,
Totally,
you'll absorb it,
totally.
won't you?
Totally. Anthony Bourdain, amazing. Kitchen Confidential was like so good. But I stayed away from all of that while I was writing mine. And then in the fiction space, I'm currently on book 3 of Elena Ferrante's
My brilliant friend.
My Brilliant Friend, the Neapolitan Quartet.
How gorgeous are those
It's completely
books?
amazing.
Oh.
So I'm halfway through book 3.
They're so transportative.
Oh my
It's as if
God.
you are there.
Have you seen the TV series?
No, I'm not sure I want to.
I've watched season 1.
Is it good?
Yeah, I watched season 1 as soon as I finished My Brilliant Friend, the first book. And it's exactly as I pictured it in my head, which is great.
Yeah.
And also there are so many characters in that book. There's even a key to characters at the beginning, right? So you kind of, it was actually quite useful to go, oh, that's the, like Leela's brother's, son's, cousin's, dad's
Dentist's
brother,
wife's
dentist,
dog.
shopkeeper. Yeah, oh, that's that person, and they've all got such similar names as well. But I love her. I love her writing. I love Barbara Kingsolver. I loved Demon Copperhead.
What
So
a book.
much.
I feel like Demon subtly finds a way into every podcast episode
Really?
that we do.
It's so good. What a voice. It's incredible. I love Donna Tartt. I think she's probably my number one.
Really?
Yeah, we are due a Donna.
We are.
It's been like 13 years or something.
I
Where
think,
is she?
How amazing would it be to have Jodie and Donna here?
Oh my
like,
God.
imagine the 4 of us. It's almost too much. It would be incredible.
I watched
Donna,
every interview
Donna.
with her on YouTube.
She's
I'm
incredible.
so obsessed
What a
with her.
brain.
She's so fabulous. She's so smart. She's so
Punk.
punk.
Her
She's
style.
so with the
yeah,
ties.
yeah. Oh my God, she's so cool.
the bluntness of that bob.
So cool.
It's something.
It's
It's something else.
I loved The Goldfinch. I loved The Secret History, and I'm sort of halfway through The Little Friend, and I've kind of put it down. It's maybe too dense even for me.
dense.
It's
I'd say
Dickensian
most
in
of
its
her fans,
density.
that's the one that's kind of
Yeah.
the least favourite.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
I'm halfway through it, and I'll bring it back in like a year.
So you're like a
and I'll
mood reader.
continue.
You're like, pick up, yeah, same.
Yeah, I can put a book down halfway through and
Me too.
return to it.
Yeah.
I always have to finish it eventually, but I can put something down. Yeah. And I'm trying not to read several books at the same time.
Can't
I just
do
think
it.
it
I
just
do it.
drives me. If I've got this pile,
That's
there's a
what I
bookmark
have.
halfway.
It's
It just drives me insane.
I know, my life is
audio?
hard.
Do you listen to
I
audio?
do. I definitely always have an audio and a physical on at the same time, for sure.
Yeah, I think I need
But
to
that's
do
at the
that.
very, very least. There's always at least 2. I like a non-fiction on audio, and I like a fiction in my hands. But I've been guilty of having like 6 or 7 books, and they've all just got bookmarks a third of the way in, and I'm like, that's a really stressful thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my life
I
is
can
like.
do one at a time, and
Sophie's-
that
And that's
is
it.
it.
Yeah.
I'm desperately trying to be like that.
I have no
5 minutes.
capacity to do more in my mind.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we want to have it for Quiver Substack, but 1 minute.
Yes.
We're going to have one more thing about the taste in books.
Yeah.
Okay. Your taste in books is one of my favourite things about you because you're so eclectic, but there's also this like dark, unhinged, Eliza Clark, Life Ceremony, Convenience Store Woman, Butter.
Yeah, love.
American Psycho.
Have you read Open Throat?
Yes.
No.
Oh my God, what
Do
a
I
bizarre
need
little
to?
book.
The Lion.
Yes.
What the heck is
the
that about?
Mountain Lion.
The Mountain Lion who's queer.
Completely loved.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I remember
Completely
we've got
loved.
sent that
I
now.
have
I
got
haven't read
300
it.
book recommendations for you on the basis
Have
of
you?
it.
Okay, amazing, amazing.
I was going to ask you, what are you looking for in a book? But I think we've answered unhinged, crazy.
I'm looking for I love a psychological thriller as well. So I'm looking for something to go awry for sure.
Okay.
I'm looking for I do like lots of plot. I must admit.
I think you're going to love Penance.
You're going to love it.
Really,
You're
yeah, I'm
going
excited
to
about
love
that.
You're going to love A
Penance.
Certain Hunger.
Okay, good.
I know, I talk about it all the
You
time.
do
Good.
that every time
I
with
don't
that
care.
book.
I read really
It's
broadly.
a female food critic that eats her boyfriends.
I've heard of this.
It's hysterical.
Probably
I've
heard Kaya
of
talking
this.
about it
might
all
be
the
on this
bloody time.
podcast, yeah. It might be on this podcast.
so good.
Yeah, I read so much and I read very, very broadly. I just read Song of Achilles, completely gorgeous.
Good.
Cersei's there, ready to be
good.
read. Trying to think what else is on my. I've got Trust.
Oh yeah,
Helen
Helen
Diaz.
Diaz.
Yes, that's
Very
on my
good.
to-read list. I've got. I'm a recent fan of Sarah Waters. Yeah, Tipping the Velvet.
I love. It's the haunted house one. The
Finger,
haunted.
finger.
No, Fingersmith is like the main
know the
one.
other
Yeah.
But I think it's called A Little Friend.
Yes, that's.
I will check
There's
it.
something. There are lots of friends. There's my brilliant friend. There's the
There's
little
a lot of
friend, and
friends.
there's some other friend as well. There's a theme there, isn't there?
There is.
Friendship and small.
There is. We are going to take this conversation over to our Substack because we've got
Okay.
some quick fire round, amazing, more
Great.
bookish, more celebrity questions. But thank you so much for joining us
It's
today.
been an honour.
So
Really,
honour.
an honour.
Thank
And
you.
Your
it's
book
been
is
amazing.
mesmerising,
Thank you.
transportive, accessible, but in the best way. Like you just feel like you're on a night out reading it. It's amazing.
And proper fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jodie.
thank you, thank you.